Hey friends! In today's video, we are creating this look. Very classic, simple, easy everyday look. I am spending a bit more time in today's video talking about under eye tips, how to conceal, brighten the under eye, how to set the under eye, how to have your under eyes look bright and concealed without looking heavy, without dealing with creasing, and all the things that we struggle with underneath our eyes. Today's video is sponsored by Iredale, and I'm going to be talking particularly in depth about their Enlighten Plus concealer, which is one of my favorite products from the brand and one of my favorite concealers. So much to love about this product, and I wanted to shine a little spotlight on it. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, to get started, I do have a little bit of foundation on already. I did a very light layer of this before I left the house, but I'm going to add a little bit more to build some coverage and just to talk quickly about this product. This is the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. That's the official name. I'm wearing the shade 2WO. I think it is 2WO is what I see on the back of here. This foundation is such a beautiful foundation if you want a very skin-like finish. It's very buildable, so you can get a very light sheer layer, or you can go back in and add a little bit more if you want more coverage. I just put a tiny bit on the back of my hand, and I'm really going to work it into my 101 brush just so that I have that product just evenly distributed throughout the brush, and then I'm just going to bounce the brush in the center of the face. This foundation is one that I feel doesn't get enough coverage. It is such a great formula. It is absolutely beautiful. It has a very natural finish, which means it's not going to be very matte, but it's also not luminescent or glowy either. It really just looks like healthy skin. It's so beautiful. I, for the longest time, would use this foundation as a mixing medium, so I would mix it with some of my other thicker, fuller coverage foundations when I wanted to dilute the consistency down a little bit, or I wanted to maybe sheer another foundation out. So you certainly can do that. The consistency of it is very lightweight, so it's just really beautiful. But on its own, I mean, it just stands up to be such a beautiful foundation, even alone. It's really nice. If you have not tried this foundation, this is definitely one I would add to your list to pick up. I really can't think of any cons about the foundation. I think it's one of those foundations that will appeal to most people. Okay, so we just added a little bit more coverage, just a tiny bit. Now let's talk about under eyes. Now I'm going to focus and spend a little bit more time under eyes today. That's going to kind of be the focus of this video. I want to talk about little tricks that I do to just really get a full, flawless coverage underneath the eyes without looking heavy. The under eyes can be a very tricky part of the face to do makeup on, and I think that if I look back at all the questions and requests that I get, under eyes and foundation are the two. I think those are like our two biggest pain points, especially as we get a little bit older. Having concealer that covers well, that doesn't look heavy, and that doesn't look cakey is a challenge. So let me explain why that is. So the skin underneath the eyes is more delicate. It's thinner. It also is the area that we show the most texture on the face. We are smiling, we are laughing, we are making all these expressions, and it is causing little lines, which then kind of linger and stick around. And when you are using makeup and you lay it on top of thin textured skin, it also tends to be more dry underneath the eyes, so add that into the mix. That's when you can end up with under eyes that just have texture that looks magnified, looks cakey, or creases, right? So there's so many variables that when you add them all together, it just creates a really challenging place on the face to do makeup. So here are a few things you can do to just make that area look more refreshed, still have full coverage, but still look light and natural. I always recommend prepping underneath the eye. So whenever you do your skincare, take your moisturizer or your eye cream, of course, and put it underneath the eye. Now, if you are someone who does your skincare and then it's quite a bit of time before your makeup is applied, which is me today, because I'm here at the studio now, I did my skincare at home like 3 hours ago, refresh that, reapply something hydrating underneath the eye. I personally love to use hyaluronic serum, so something very lightweight. Today I'm going to use a little bit of the Merit Beauty Great Skin Priming Moisturizer. Now this moisturizer is not too heavy and it's plumping, which is perfect for underneath the eye area. That's why I prefer to use light hyaluronic serums, is because they're plumping and hydrating, but they're not heavy. And I really worked this into my finger so that I'm not applying too much. And I'm just going to lightly apply this underneath the eye just to refresh that area, make that skin nice and hydrated and plump. So it's going to fill in any of those lines that are there and just plump that area up. Now concealer is the more pigmented, full coverage, heaviest product that is in our makeup routine. It's designed to be full coverage, so it's very concentrated. So just remember that when you're applying your concealer, always start with a little bit. We tend to over apply concealer, myself included. So usually we are applying way more than we need. We are going to go in and conceal with the Iredale Enlighten Plus concealer. This is one of my favorite products from the brand. I absolutely love this concealer. It has a really beautiful texture. It is silky, it's full coverage, but it feels very lightweight. So I have two shades here and both of them work for me. me, I'm going to show you what I have. I have the shade 0 and then I also have the shade 1. So first we're going to go in with the shade 0. And what I love about these is they have like a peachy undertone, like a peachy and then also a pink undertone. So this is what the shade 0 looks like. It's a little bit lighter with a nice peachy tone to it. Then this is the shade 1. A little bit deeper. It also has that peach color. And why is peach important for concealing underneath the eyes? Because it neutralizes and cancels out that dark kind of green or bluish tint that we can have underneath the eyes. It's opposite those colors of the color wheel, so it actually neutralizes it. Not only conceals, but it neutralizes it, which is so important. I'm gonna go in with the shade 1, and I love this product because of the applicator. Do you see this applicator? It's got this cooling tip applicator, which feels so nice under the eyes. If you are someone that wakes up with puffy under eyes like I do, this is gonna help kind of calm that down a bit. It's really beautiful. And I actually am just gonna apply it directly to the skin. And then I'm gonna apply a little bit out here. And then I'm just gonna use the applicator without squeezing it. I'm gonna use the applicator to kind of spread the product. So I'm not adding any more product here. I'm basically just moving the product that I've applied around to give full coverage underneath the eye. This also has an SPF of 30 in it, which I love. Any additional SPF coverage I can get, I am all for. So when I find it in my makeup products unexpectedly, it's always an extra bonus. Perfect. So now I'm just spreading that around. I'm not adding any more product. I'm just using the applicator tip to spread around and kind of give the under eye a little bit of massage. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to kind of let that sit. The consistency is nice and creamy, so it's very hydrating, but it doesn't settle in fine lines. It doesn't crease. It really does stay in place all day. Okay, then I'm going to go in and blend out. If you want the most coverage from your concealer, give it a little bit of time to self-set. You might hear that term used a lot by makeup artists. That just basically means giving it time to kind of sit on the skin and dry down a little bit before you go out and completely blend out. So it's been resting there for about 30-45 seconds. It's time to go in and blend. I'm going to use the BK Beauty Nikki LaRose in 14. This is one of my favorite brushes for concealer when you want full coverage. And I'm just going to tap it underneath the eye and on top of that product and just tap it until the product blends out. Look at that. I mean, that is incredible. The coverage, the brightness. I love when I can find a concealer that not only covers, but also brightens. It's like a color corrector and concealer in one, quite honestly. And then I'm going to take any excess and kind of run that on the eyelid just to brighten the eyelid, even everything out. So I've done most of the blending. I am going to come back, but right now I'm going to go to the other eye. We're going to blend this one out. If you have dry under eyes, you will love this concealer. It's very hydrating, creamy, but when you set it with powder, it stays in place all day and you don't have to worry about it creasing or migrating into fine lines. Look at that. The coverage is just incredible. It gives full coverage, but it doesn't look heavy at all. Okay, so now that I've got it all blended, I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to kind of dry clean it, is like what I like to call it. I'm just taking it and swirling it around on a tissue or paper towel to remove any excess product off of this. Then I'm going to go back, I'm going to look up so I stretch the skin, and I'm going to tap it one more time. That way I can remove any excess product. You don't want extra product. If you over apply concealer, I don't care what concealer it is, you can run into creasing. So you want to make sure that you just apply what you need and not more than that. Perfect. Okay, we are good, good, good. Look at that, so good. So now that we have the concealer completely blended in, we are gonna set, and this is very important. This is where we can make a lot of mistakes. I personally believe that it's important to set underneath the eyes with a light powder. However, powder can accentuate texture. It can dry out an area of the face that is already dry. So we have to be really careful. We have to make sure we choose the right powder, and we have to make sure we apply the right amount. So one of my favorite loose powders of the moment is the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder. It is a very, very fine, loose matte powder. I love that powder. I do not have it with me today, so I'm sharing another great option that is pressed. This is from Pat McGrath, and this is actually powder that's designed for underneath the eye area. So it's specifically formulated for that delicate skin. It is the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder, and I have two shades here. I have a yellow shade for brightening, this one here, and then I also have the medium shade, which is kind of just more of a natural skin tone color. Either one will work. Today I'm going to go in and use the medium though, and I'm going to use, this is important, the brush that you pick. I'm going to use a brush that applies and picks up very light and natural. I'm going to be going in with the BK Beauty 108. It's very fluffy. The N14 is a really great brush to use as well. For powder, it's the one that I blend out the concealer. It is a little bit more dense, so it is going to pick up more product. So if you are someone who likes to set in the middle of the forehead, I love this. Setter on the nose, I love this. I do love this for underneath the eye, like for photo shoots or for days where I want like a full on glam and I need it to last all day and I'm wearing more makeup. But on the kind of everyday one, I just want to lightly set underneath the eye. I want something a little fluffy. So I'm going to go in with the 108. I'm going to load the brush up. Now I'm going to first start on the forehead just so that I don't go and apply too much powder. Remember, the first place you put your brush is where you're going to apply the most product, which makes sense. You just loaded it up from the product. You go to the face, that's where most of the product's going to land. So I don't want to go underneath the eyes first with that. I want to go another part of the face and then go use what's left underneath the eye. Then I can kind of gauge how much product is on the brush and I can go back and get a little more if I want and then set it underneath the eye. When you're setting powder underneath the eye, look up so that you're stretching that skin and stretching any creases that are there. Look up and then just press the brush underneath the eye, okay? Don't sweep, just press because you really just want to set that concealer. Locking it in, making sure that it's not going to move or settle into fine lines. Perfect. I love this powder because it's lightweight. It has a very like satin finish. So it's not glowy, but it's also not really matte. It also blurs any texture and smooths everything out. You can use this powder all over the face. I think I'm actually going to go in and do that around the nose and right here where I have like larger pores and then around the mouth. This powder gives a very natural skin-like finish. So it's not as matte as the Huda Beauty. It's definitely more kind of natural skin-like. Perfect. There we go. And look at the under eyes. Full coverage, concealed, absolutely beautiful. And this is going to stay in place all day. Again, that's the Jane Iredale Enlighten Plus. Full coverage, silky, lightweight texture. Love this concealer. If you haven't tried this, I think this is a fantastic one to add to your wish list, especially those of us with mature skin. You will love this concealer. Okay, let's go on to bronzer. I'm going to use the bronzer I've been using on repeat lately, which is the Dior Forever Nude Bronze. I'm the shade 10, and it's the lightest one. This is such a beautiful, just like silky velvety. Does that contradict one another? I think it kind of does, but it really feels silky and also velvety. It's so beautiful. It has a strong scent, lots of fragrance. So if you're not about that, fair warning, it does. Every time I share this one, I also like to share that a good dupe for this is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer because they are very, very similar. I love the color of this. It's just this really beautiful, soft, warm bronze. And I just kind of really press it into the skin. And I'm using the BK Beauty 107 brush. We're going to keep the makeup today pretty light and just kind of natural every day. We're not going to do a full-on glam session today. I recently filmed a video, kind of a long wear glam, and I do feel like that's a bit more glam, so I will link that one down below if you would like to see that. Actually, that one might go live after this video, so be on the lookout for that one. If it's live, I'll link it. If it's not, keep an eye out because that will be the next one coming. And I'm just gonna, I always like to warm up the nose and the center of the face just to make sure everything's cohesive. Okay, so let's move on to cheeks. This is a blush that I've been loving lately. You've probably seen it in a lot of my recent content. This is the Unreal Blush Healthy Glow Stick from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the shade Peachy Glow. I was so tempted to buy the pink. There's two other pink shades that would look good on my skin tone that I didn't get just because I have so many like it, but I don't buy a lot of just like pure peach blushes. So I did this time. I'm going to use the BK Beauty 109 to apply this. I love this blush. It's very pigmented, so you just want to make sure you don't apply too much. I was kind of like to bounce it on the back of my hand to remove any excess, but it's so beautiful. Oh, look at that. And I just press the 109 brush into the skin. I always like to start kind of at the apple of my cheek, but then go up and back. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at that. It really gives the most beautiful glow to the skin. I find that this blush has really great wearability, meaning it stays on all day, and it's buildable. So that's kind of what a light layer looks like. But you know me, I love my blush. So I'm going to go back and add a tiny bit more. I always find myself going back and adding blush after I've done my eye makeup. But before I have my eye makeup on, sometimes my blush looks like it's too much. But I promise you, once everything is on, it's going to work out well, even though we're actually keeping the eyes kind of light today, but that's okay. Perfect. Okay. Ooh, so good. I love this. For eyes, I'm going to keep it so simple. We're just going to use one shadow. I'm going to be using the A501 brush. This is a really great shadow brush. Mine is a little dirty, but it's a good shadow brush if you want to do one and done because it's like a flat, like a shader brush for the lid, but it's also got a fluffy tip. So you can kind of blend out. I'm going to go in, we're going to use this shade right here in the Natasha Denona palette. This little mini sculpt palette is my go-to. I keep it in my little makeup bag that I take everywhere with me. This has everything I need for a full face and a lot more. And this is kind of my go-to eyeshadow palette just because it's small and simple. And I'm going to just sweep this onto the lid. I have a little concealer there, so that's kind of what's going to be my primer for today. Because I'm not doing a whole lot of eye makeup, I'm just doing this one shadow. I don't really feel like I need a full-on primer. And I'm really shearing this out. So even if this fades throughout the day, it'll be okay because that's kind of the look I'm going for. Just like a wash, just a wash of color. Now I went a little heavier on this side, so now we need to go and even everything out. Very simple. This is a nice cool tone brown, which is a little different than I normally wear. Perfect, okay. Then I'm gonna take the lightest color in here and we're just gonna pop this right underneath the eyebrow with the same brush. Now, one thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna take the powder that we used underneath the eye, that Pat McGrath shade medium. I'm gonna take the N14 and I'm just gonna sweep this on the lid, just on top of that shade. Again, I just wanna really keep that light sheer, like a nice pretty wash of color. It's also gonna help kind of set that, since I didn't use an eyeshadow primer. Putting this powder there is just gonna help control oil throughout the day. Okay, for liner, we are just gonna concentrate our liner on the upper lash today. I'm using this pencil from Blue Mercury. It's their in-house brand, Luna and Aster, and this is the shade brown. It's just the shade brown. This is a really nice creamy formula. It's very creamy, which means that you can really smudge it and blend it out quickly. I like to do one eye at a time though when I plan to smudge out liner, because usually these liners, they are designed to be creamy and be able to move, but once they dry, they usually set and stay in place. So I do not want this one to dry down like this. I'm gonna actually take the same shadow that we used on the lid. I'm gonna take the 210 brush from BK Beauty, and we are just gonna run this right on top of that. I want the liner to be rich at the lash line and dark. That's why I use this really dark pencil, but I don't want it to look harsh and real defined. I want it to kind of be smoky and like just a little smoky and diffused. Perfect. See what that did? I love that. Okay, let's go into the other eye. Perfect. Okay, let's just take a little quick comparison of the two eyes. Okay, that looks good. Perfect. I love this. Just very simple, easy, classic, and clean. Okay, let's move into mascara. So excited about this. We are going to be using a brand new mascara. Well, it's a newish formula. This is the Jane Iredale Lash Fixation. This is their newer tubing mascara that they just recently launched, but they just launched a brown formula of this, and I'm excited to try this. I'm honestly not a brown mascara wearer. Not that I don't like it, I just don't wear it. I always default to black, but brown mascara is having its moment right now, so we're gonna give this a try. This is what the brush looks like. I love the brush and wand applicator on this. It's got tiny little teeth, so it does a great job of separating and pulling each lash. If you're not familiar with tubing technology, it basically wraps each lash in this tube. It's very nice when you go and remove your makeup at night because you just take warm water and just the tubes slide off the lash. Now with this mascara, you really want to build while it's wet. Once it dries down, you don't want to continue to build. So I really like to do one eye at a time. Oh, look at this. It builds so quickly, gives a lot of length and a great separation. Ooh, and I love this. I honestly wouldn't be able to look at this and tell that it's brown. It's dark enough and it's giving me enough definition to my lashes. You could fool me. I would think this is black. Love. Okay, love, love, love. I love this formula. It's really nice and like wet, so it just glides onto the lash so easily. Okay, I'm gonna step away now. That's about as much as I'm gonna build it up. Look at that length. So good. Okay, let's go and dip it in and let's go to the other side. My left eye is always fuller with lashes. I think it might be because I always try to sleep on my back. I was told that sleep on your back is best. Now that I have these back issues, I have to put a pillow underneath my knees. It's a whole process for me to sleep. I put a big old pillow underneath my knees so my knees are kind of elevated, and then I lay on my back. But I do end up on my side midway through the night. I'll kind of move to my side, I'll put the pillow between my legs, and I always lay on this side. So I wonder if that's why my lashes are thinner on that side. Ooh, so good. You can really get in here with this wand and use the tip to fan out and spread the lashes. So good. I love it. Nice length, nice volume, not too heavy. Sometimes I want a heavy dramatic lash, but when I want a nice, like defined, clean lash that's not too much, this is perfect. Look at that. So beautiful. I'm gonna use this on the lower lashes. This is a really great mascara for the lower lashes too, because again, it just coats each lash, puts those little tubes on there, and you have this really beautiful lash definition. It's light and not heavy. Perfect. Ah, so good. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to lips. I am gonna take a paper towel and we're going to remove the lip balm that I have on my lips so I can get a really nice dry lip. Dry, dry, dry lip. We want really dry lips, which is kind of odd, right? We usually say we want plump lips when we apply, but I'm going for longevity in my lip products today. I want to apply this and I want it to last all day. So this is my little hack that I actually stole from Nikki LaRose, full disclosure, and credit to her for teaching me this. Dry your lip off and then powder over the lip. I'm gonna go ahead and use the same powder that we used underneath the eye. Normally I use the Huda Beauty loose powder. I hope this one works as well, but I'm gonna take this powder and I'm gonna take the N14 brush again because the N14 picks up a lot of product, and I'm gonna powder all over the lips with this. Let me know if you've tried this hack. I know this is like a really popular makeup artist hack. I think I saw someone sharing that they learned it from Makeup by Mario too. I never did this when I was a working makeup artist. I never did this little hack. This was something new I learned. So now that those are powdered, I'm gonna go and line my lips. I'm using this lip pencil from NYX. This is the Line Loud lip pencil. And this is the shade Leave a Legacy. This is a very creamy, very pigmented color. This liner has longevity to it too. It's a really great long-lasting liner. I'm gonna kind of fill in the corners. Not necessarily the whole lip, but I'm gonna fill in the corners. So we just have the center of the lip that is left bare. Then we're gonna go in and apply a little lipstick. This is the Makeup by Mario lipstick in the shade Midtown. Very pigmented, full coverage, a light kind of muted nude. I'm gonna kind of blend with my finger so the liner and the lipstick meld together a little better. There's a little bit of contrast there, but the gloss will fix that. Now I'm gonna go in with the brand new Rare Beauty lip gloss. This is the shade Beam. These are so nice. They're very lightweight. They're beautiful. They have a really refined iridescence to it, so it just gives the lips a glossy, full look. I'm gonna take the wand and I'm gonna kind of trace the liner. That's a little hack that I love. It just gives really full lips. Gosh, those under eyes look so good. Look at that under eye, so bright. I love it. Love, love, love. Okay, we are done, my friends. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna link and tag all the products that I use in YouTube shopping down below because you can shop them there. Again, everything will be listed and linked in the description box. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching it, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.